straggler somewhere. I know there's a new little calf somewhere. I'm gonna have to look up. And I don't know where the mommy is at this moment. I hear you, Buckwheat. Come on, Hep! Come on, Hep! Welcome to Sunday with Cows. I'm on a hill outside of Nashville, Tennessee, with my one and only, can you see her? Miss Whitey. So she's in a new field. We're on pasture rotation, so we've got all the cows. Even have Jill's horse over here, as you can see. And so we're way away from where I usually do Sunday with the Cows. So I'm going to let Whitey kind of continue to be with the rest of the herd. And I've been working on a new book this week. So what I'm going to do is show you something that I did back during the pandemic called Shall We Gather at the River. I think you'll enjoy it. I want to thank Joan Barker Elliott, my cuz, for giving Miss Whitey some treats this week. And thank you so much for that. So hope you enjoy Shall We Gather at the River, and the two of us will be back next week, won't we, Whitey? She's enjoying some green grass, and she's very happy, and she's been eating some treats that you've given her. So thank you so much. God bless you. Hope you enjoy this. See you next week. So anyway, I'm wearing my, I don't know if you can see it, let me kind of push this down. I'm wearing my Smokey Bear shirt for all of the people in Oregon and California today who are fighting the fires. We want to pray for you as well tonight. There's an old poem by Myra Brooks Welch titled, "The Touch of the Master's Hand." It starts off at an auction, and there's various items being auctioned off, and then they get down to this old violin, and they start auctioning it off, and it only goes for a measly $3 until this man stands up, this older man. He goes over and he picks up the violin, and he plucks it, and he tunes it, and he starts playing it, and then he puts it back down. And the people were amazed, and the bid on the violin went up from a measly $3 all the way to $3,000. And people were astounded. They were cheering. They just didn't know what changed its value. And the response is that what changed the value is the touch of the master's hand. The master knows how to play it. And this is how the poem ends, with these words. "And many a man with life out of tune, and battered and scarred with sin, is auctioned cheap to the thoughtless crowd, much like the old violin. But the master comes, and the foolish crowd never can quite understand the worth of a soul and the change that's wrought by the touch of the master's hand." And we've been talking about Nehemiah on Sunday. Now, I've been trying to continue these talks from Sunday on to Wednesday night. And here was a man who was worth only about a measly $3 because he was the cupbearer for the king, which meant that he tasted the food to make sure it wasn't poisoned before the king ate it. So he's a throwaway person. He's a measly $3. And this man who was a measly $3, all of a sudden, by the touch of the master's hand, becomes somebody very important in history, and he gets his own book in the Bible. How great is that? How many people can say, "I have a book in the Bible named after me"? And everything that I accomplished as I was rebuilding the walls around Jerusalem are contained in this book. And this $3 measly man became a $3,000 man because of the touch of the master's hand. What about you? Ever feel you've been touched by the master's hand? Anytime that you understand what happened at the cross, then you understand that was the touch of the master's hand, God coming down out of heaven and touching humanity. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son. But it doesn't mean anything to you if you keep walking around like you're worth a measly $3. But if you understand the touch of the master's hand, then all of a sudden it brings worth into your life. You're worth something. But a lot of us walk around and we say to ourselves, "I'm not worth anything. I'm no good. You don't know what's happened to me in life. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've done." So for you to say I'm worth something, I'm worth a measly $3. And I've seen a lot of measly $3 people. But you never get around to having a burden of purpose and accomplishing something great if you're walking around with a $3 mark on your soul. Did you know that cows have one stomach but 4 different compartments in the stomach? Now, I'm going to take this somewhere, so listen to me. One is the rumen, one is the reticulum, one is the omasum, and one is the abomasum. Each one has its own purpose. The rumen and the reticulum work together as a fermentation vat. The omasum is where liquid is removed from the food. Oh, so once the cow is full, she finds a place and she puts herself down and chews her cud. There's nothing more serene and happy than watching a cow chew her cud. And you know, cows can ruminate, but humans should not ever ruminate, because when you ruminate as a human, then all you're doing is you're burping up all of these past things, and you're telling yourself that you're not good enough. That, you remember when this happened? You ever have those thoughts? You remember what you said? Remember that night? That terrible night? And so, when humans become like cows, when we start to ruminate, then we move ourselves out of the place of where God has placed us in the heavenlies, in this glory, in this worth more than $3 measly place, and we put ourselves back down to the lower place. And we sit around and we ruminate. But it never makes a human happy when we ruminate and we think up all of these bad things. So a human must contemplate. Now, what is contemplation? So contemplation is this higher thought of this being worth something and having our thoughts align with who God is, and we say to Him, so it may be that you are ruminating instead of contemplating. And that's why you're down. That's why you're depressed. That's why you don't feel like you have any purpose in your life. It's because you're spending your time chewing the cud when you're not supposed to be someone who chews the cud. You're supposed to be someone who contemplates. Now, when we look out upon the world, we see that the need is great. I do all the time. I look out there and I go, oh my gosh, the need is so great. And then what I do with that is I look inward and I see that I don't have the adequate resources to meet that need that's out in the world. And then that starts bringing me down. If I were a better person, I would have a bestseller, but I don't have a bestseller. If I were a better writer, then I would have success. If I were a better farmer, then I would have a better success on the... See what I'm saying? You look out and you see what's in the world that needs to be changed or needs to be done, and you turn it inward and you go, oh no, I don't have the adequate resources inside of myself to make my boss happy, to make my spouse happy, to be the kind of parent that I need to be for my children. And then we get depressed, we get down, we get tired, because we're looking out at something in the world that is greater than we are, and then we're looking within to try to meet that need, and then we fall apart because we don't have what it takes. So, I'm asking you tonight to begin to contemplate, to begin to think higher thoughts. Remember when Jesus fed the 5,000? He set everybody down, and this is what it says in Matthew 14:19. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, He gave thanks and broke the loaves. This is contemplation. The upward look and prayer, then God moves into action. And Nehemiah did this, remember? The king asked him, why are you so down? And the first thing he did was he prayed. He looked up. And then he looked out and said, this is the purpose of my heart. I want to go back and rebuild the walls. You can never find your purpose in life and have the power and the sustainability inside of you that you need until you look up first, and then you look out, and then you look within and you find that you have been touched by the Master's hand and you've become something great. If you don't feel something great inside of you, then somehow you're pushing away the master's hand, because you're telling him you're not good enough. But see, you're not opening yourself up to what God can do inside of you. So stop living like you're worth a measly $3 and start living like someone who's been touched by the master's hand. And then everybody will look at you and go, man, what happened to that person? I have people look at me like that all the time. They say, what happened to him? I went to my 20-year Franklin High School reunion, and I won the most unusual career award. I don't have an unusual career. I'm a pastor. What was so unusual about it to them? They never saw it coming. They never believed that Robbie Stoffel would be a pastor one day, because he was a heathen, a hellion, worth about $3 measly. And then the master came down and he touched my soul. And he said, you are worth the death of my son on the cross. And once you understand that kind of touch, then you know that there's greatness that lies before you. So you have to stop ruminating. You have to stop regurgitating all this stuff up. And you have to start contemplating. Look out, look in, and you'll fall apart. Look up, look out, look in, and you'll find the strength that you need for tomorrow. God bless you. Have a good week.